Well, you know, you got to have a system, and there's no system that's ever going to be perfect, but this is one that, in my opinion, it is a broken system. I have worked inside this system. It is not fair. It is not equitable. It doesn't go deep enough, and so much of the time it's based on opinion, and there's not much time for rendering that opinion. It's so hard for judges. I mean, they don't know what they don't know, but we've got to create a system where they have the information. They have the commitment. If we need more judges, then get more judges. I mean, come on. We're talking about the welfare, the benefit, the safety of our children. I want to hear from you about this. I want to know what your experiences are. I want to know what you think. Let me hear from you.
Hey, Dr. Phil. It's Damon. I was just making this video to tell you that I'm in a pretty bad situation right now. I'm not living with my mom, who I want to live with, and I'm living with guardians, which is okay, but on the weekends I am forced to go with my father, who sexually abused me for 3 to 4 years, and I can't even be alone with him because he might kill me. I wanted to tell you that because I think that you can really help me, and it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Hello everybody, it's Damon. I was just making this video to inform all of you of the clear and present danger that I am in right now, actually. The court took me away from my mom, and it really is, I can't describe how it makes me feel that this is happening to so many other kids. I'm strong enough, I can deal with it, but the fact that this is not just me, that's what really brings me down. Especially because even in my case, the court is giving me back to my father, and this father happens to be one that sexually abused me and then threatened to kill me, and you don't even want to know what else he did. And guess who I'm with? Him. It boggles my mind. But yeah, and I was just making that video to inform you. Hopefully today we can make a change today. Hopefully we can do that. Okay, I don't really know what else to say. I've summarized it. The court is not telling me the truth. My lawyers are lying to me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The whole thing is screwed up. The lawyers are not fighting for me. The judge doesn't give a hoot about how I'm doing, and no one does. No one. I don't have anyone for me except for my mother. And yeah, I just made that video to tell you that. Thank you for your time. Hey Dr. Phil, this is Damon, and I was just making this video because I want you, and subsequently all of your viewers, to know how my dad sexually abused me. He sexually abused me when I was young, and threatened to kill me, which, of course, he hasn't done yet because I'm still alive. The court system isn't letting me go with my mom, who I want to be with, and is instead making me spend my weekends with my dad, who threatened to kill me. Don't ask me why, okay? Don't. Just don't. It would be really great if you could help and get me out of this situation. I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much.
Mothers and grandfathers and other supporters gathered in front of family court to protest what they say is the placement of thousands of children every year with known abusers. Cindy Dumas says her son Damon first reported abuse from her ex-husband, his father, at age 6.
Then it got into the family court system, and the judge wouldn't listen to him, wouldn't do a proper hearing. I tried for 2 years to protect him, and that's when I gave up and went into hiding.
She took her 3 sons to New York, Florida, Colorado. She came back 3 years later when she says she was promised by the court her son would be allowed to testify. He wasn't, and she lost custody for abducting her children.
It's been awful. It's been a horrible experience, and I do want to protect Damon and his brothers, and I want to help all these other parents who are trying to protect their children.
Allison Erdan's son was suicidal at the age of 7 because she says of abuse by his father. After he told 19 professionals what happened to him, Erdan and her ex were awarded joint custody.
As he's screaming and begging me not to make him go, and I'm forcing him to get dressed, I know, honey, I know, so.
She says her attorney told her if she denies these court-ordered visitations, she'll lose custody completely. If judges and counselors are sweeping this issue under the rug, why is it happening? Erdan says it's a money-making business.
Litigants spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these cases. Evaluators, special masters, all the players I mentioned make tons of money on these cases.
A judge will make a big decision about Damon's placement next Tuesday. He will either stay with his guardians or be placed in the custody of his father. Cindy hopes that doesn't happen.
I want the children back with me. I'm being punished.
Kristen Casado, KUSI News.
A spokesman for the Supreme Court says they cannot comment on Damon's case. As for changing policy in family court, when it comes to custody decisions, that same spokesperson said there's a task force made up of judges and others from all over the state, and they are looking at several issues, and they may make changes.
I am speaking to you on behalf of the interests of a mother and her 6-year-old daughter who has been what appears to be the subject of abuse and neglect at the hands of her custodial father in Ward 2 of the District of Columbia. I think the problems that have been suffered by both are an example of the systematic problems caused by the current leadership of CFSA, which is led by Dr. Gerald. The CFSA staff is all too eager to sweep suspected abuse under the rug without having to do the extra work. They do this by categorizing, using shortcuts, by finding the cases to be unfounded prematurely without actually having done thorough investigations. By designating a case as prematurely as unfounded, the CFSA relieves itself of the obligation to produce a report or document any investigation, thus avoiding any transparency or accountability for the children, leaving them in the harm's way of their daily lives. This is not simply my observations, but this has also been found to be observations in the press, including the city paper in a piece written a couple of months ago. 4 experts in this particular case reported the threatening abuse and neglect of the 5-year-old by the father, supported by a mountain of evidence. Eager to close the case without doing any background investigation, the CFSA caseworkers went to the suspect father's 1-bedroom apartment, spoke to the father and spoke to the child, and concluded right then and there the reports for the experts were unfounded, effectively closing the case. The examination was so superficial that was done that only 12 days later, the child returned to the same hospital complaining of sores in her mouth and lesions in her groin, prompting a different doctor to suspect sexually transmitted herpes and take a culture. I think the problem with CFSA is that there's a bias here, and I think the bias is that if you're white and you're affluent and you live in the right section of town, there's no way you could be considered, or they will consider you suspected of possible sexual abuse of your or neglect of your own child. It's unfortunate. I'm going to tell you that it's not simply something that's going on here in the District of Columbia. This phenomenon is going on throughout the United States, but that doesn't justify it, and that shouldn't allow it to continue. The District of Columbia should be doing better, not par, with the subpar performance of CPS agencies in a lot of parts of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Thank you very much.